And Happy New Year to you all. And I wish you all success this year with your clubs, because I know it's a challenge even now since COVID is, well, almost behind us. But the knock-on effects have been tremendous for the clubs, and it's not good to hear that clubs are still shutting down. Will you all welcome ASCCA's president, Jennifer Wilcox, who will welcome us all properly to this meeting. Jennifer.
Oh, thank you, Susan. Hello, everyone. I also want to wish everybody a happy new year. And yes, we just got notification yesterday of another club closing due to lack of tutors and members. And quite often that's premises accessibility. So later on in this club's forum, I hope to, I will announce something, a new initiative from ASCCA. But we've got some interesting topics today. We're from Natika with Be Connected, and also our Director of Marketing, Brett Levy. He's going to show you something right out of this world. So I think we're going to have a very exciting time. Natika has really pulled out all stops already this year in the marketing and on like social media aspect. And so we've got lots of animations coming in the newsletters and the social media posts and whatever. So this is going to be ASCCA's turnaround year. So watch this space. Thanks.
Jenny, you couldn't be more positive. That's really good news. Without more ado, I want to introduce to you Brett Levy, who is the marketing director at ASCCA. And I will let him tell you what this is all about, but it's artificial intelligence. And Brett will go into this in a lot more detail. So over to you, please, Brett.
Thanks very much. Hello, everyone. Good morning or good afternoon, I guess. It depends where you are in the country. I don't know what the time is here. It's 1 afternoon here. Thanks, Susan. Thanks, Jen. And yes, Happy New Year to everyone. Hopefully this year starts off well for everyone, and we grow stronger and stronger and into 24 and beyond, and try and put the last couple of years behind us. So artificial intelligence. So I've got a bit of a presentation, and I think let me just quickly bring that up. Let me go into that view. I'm also going to try and do a live demo today, which is not something that I advocate for when you're doing presentations, but we're ASCCA, we do things differently here. So where's my share button? Let's see. There we go. The window. And can you tell me if you can see that?
Yes, we're on your first page.
Yes.
Thank you, Brett.
Perfect. All right. So this word has been thrown around a lot lately. If you follow anything in the mainstream news and so on, you must have come across ChatGPT. Is anyone that hasn't heard of ChatGPT? I can't see everyone on the screen at the same time. But
hey, I haven't.
There's one.
No, I haven't.
Haven't?
No,
No,
I
you do.
haven't. No.
Good. Okay, well then that makes today really interesting. Right, so let's go into ChatGPT and what ChatGPT actually is. So it stands for, well, Generative Pre-trained Transformer. Are my slides moving?
No.
Okay, that's a problem. Let me try that again. You love it when you do presentations and they don't work.
It's all right. Don't panic. We can.
Is that moving now?
Yeah.
Yes.
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 Right. So I think I was on the wrong button. So basically, generative pre-trained transformer still doesn't really explain what ChatGPT is. Fundamentally, what it does is it's a company called OpenAI. A few years ago, they announced a thing called DALL-E 2, based on the artist Salvador Dali, where they were using artificial intelligence to create artwork. So you could just type "boy with a blue scarf," and the machine would make 5 or 6 different versions of a boy with a blue scarf, some in impressionist style, some in formal style. Clearly you can see I don't know much about art because I can only think of 2 styles, and so on and so on. So they've taken that same neural engine and they've now come up with ChatGPT. So what this does is you type something into ChatGPT and it will spit out an answer for you. Now, most people might think, well, that sounds like Google. It's incredibly different to Google. So if you look at the screen now, this is basically what your landing page looks like. So it shows a couple of examples, it shows its capabilities, and also shows its limitations. The examples are explain quantum computing in simple terms. Now, if you took quantum computing and typed that into Google, you would find multiple search results that would come back explaining what quantum computing is. But you'd still have to go through it and try and understand it. The fact that you've put in simple terms means it will dumb it down for you. It does all kinds of different things. I'm going to show you some examples now, but it's important to also know the limitations. So ChatGPT has been learning the entire internet, and it's kind of up to about 2021 at the moment. That's where it's stopped its learning, or it currently learned up to. Now, how exciting is this technology? Microsoft have just invested $14 billion into the company, and they don't actually have a commercial product. So that's just to give an example of what the future is. And today I was reading on the news, we might start to see Teams coming out for a $10 per month fee that will include ChatGPT into it. And when you see some of the examples I'm going to bring up for you, you'll understand why. So let's go into some of the examples that ChatGPT can do for us. So who likes cruising? Again, I can't really see the screen, so you can just shout out. Jen, you've got your hand up. I love cruising. I absolutely love cruising.
If you mean getting on a ship and going somewhere, yes, I do. But if you're meaning is cruising has a different meaning that I don't know.
Well, no, I'm talking about getting on a ship.
I cruise in my car. Yes, I cruise in my car. I don't race anymore, but I cruise.
Not on a ship.
I fly.
So I had a mate that came around to my house the other day, and I was busy playing with some models inside ChatGPT, and we were talking about it. And he told me he was about to go on the Quantum of the Seas out of Brisbane. It's his first cruise he's ever been on in his life. Super excited. And I was going to volunteer some tips based on experience, but I thought, well, he has a good chance to show off some technology. So when you go into ChatGPT, is my screen still sharing, by the way?
Yes.
Yeah.
If you look at the top, there's a little blue icon with an upside down, well, I call it an upside down smiley face. It's actually half an O. That is what I wrote into ChatGPT. What are the best secrets on a cruise ship? And what you're seeing below is some of the answers that it came back with. Now, what I need to point out, and if I can get the live demo to work, you will see for yourself. But that whole page of tips that you saw took about 3 seconds to generate. So that was there within 3 seconds. And you actually watch it typing as it comes out. Now, for those of you that have been on a cruise, you will know that these are actually really good tips. Booking a cabin on a higher deck so you get better views, especially if you're in a balcony. Avoiding the dining at peak hours. What about taking a reusable water bottle? I never thought about that. I mean, from an ecological point of view, that's great. But bringing a power strip to charge multiple devices at once, now that's something I never thought of either. You know, in this modern day, you've got a laptop, an iPad, and a phone, maybe something else that needs charging, or even a battery pack to keep all of those things charged. But in a ship's room, there's generally only 2 plugs in the wall. And if you travel with someone like my wife with long hair, one of them gets the hairdryer plugged in permanently. So that leaves me and my son with 1 plug. So taking a power board, or with you, and you can use it. So these were things that came up. Now, this is still very simplistic, but I just wanted to go through how ChatGPT works. Here's another one that I put together. Now, I know the screen might be very small to read, so I will read it to you if need be. But I put in there, I need an email to computer clubs inviting them to become members of ASCCA. ASCCA is a peak body representative. I took this off the website. So if you've gone to the website, you'll know what ASCCA is. And if you're sitting here, you know what ASCCA is. It came back. Now, remember I said I need an email to computer clubs. If you can see the screen, dear club owner's name goes here. So it's already put it into perfect grammar for me. I hope this email finds you well. I'm writing to you today as a representative of ASCCA, the peak body representing computer and technology groups. And it goes on and on. says at ASCCA, we're dedicated to encouraging, empowering. So it's taken bits and pieces of what I've put in. But then what it did do is it would like to extend an invitation and starts coming up with some of the benefits and the wealth of resources. Now, I never wrote that, but there it is. 1, it's a platform to share clubs, initiatives, and best practices. 2, it's opportunities to participate in events and programs designed to increase literacy. So it's used the artificial intelligence that it had, knowing what a computer club was and what maybe seniors want from a computer club, and it generated this whole email for me. Again, 7 or 8 seconds to put this whole thing together. Now, at this point, I'm going to pause because I've been using ChatGPT for a lot of stuff lately. The idea is that we're not trying to put copywriters out of a job. The idea is that we're basically taking information and then editing it accordingly. So you would take this email and there would still be things, and I'll give you an example. I used it to write an advert for me the other day because I got an idea and I'm going to show you this idea later on. But they talked about a petrol station. Now, living in Australia, we don't talk, a gas station. We don't talk about gas stations. We talk about servos. So things like that, I would have to go in and edit myself. And using the terminology a gas guzzler, it's not really the kind of lingo we would use here in Australia. So the idea is that you use this as a frame and then you add and remove and edit accordingly. But the fact that this was generated in 7 seconds, when Jenny phones me and says, Brett, we need an email that has to go out tomorrow, I don't have to do sleep over it. I can generate it in 7 seconds, give it a bit of a tweak, send it over to Jen, who'll probably edit it again. And now she can use ChatGPT. And because you can actually hit the regenerate button and it will change it for you. So you can take 2 or 3 versions of it and mash them up together as well. Let's move on.
So that's a bit similar to Quillbot. I use Quillbot all the time. I put my phrases in there and it will rephrase it for me.
So that's rephrasing. This is generating the entire document. So using a rephrasing tool is basically like the same as using a thesaurus, right? If you don't want to use a word that sounds too formal, you can go into a thesaurus and you can find a synonym that would soften or go in line with your tone. This is actually generating the content. Now I'm going to show you something else. So there's actually the big version of the email for all those people, because it might have been a bit small the way I tried to show it on a PowerPoint. But it's a great email. I could send this out and I do believe I would probably get a response from it. So here we go. Now look at this one. Write a poem about grandparents longing to see their newborn grandchild. The child is a little girl that they have not met due to the COVID pandemic. The poem should rhyme and it needs to be a journey of wanting to meet and ending with them meeting their grandchild. 8 seconds later. Now I can read the poem for you, or you can read it yourself. But I think even if you just get halfway through, you'll see that this is quite an incredible poem that I've written, but I haven't written it.
That'd be good for the ASCCA competition, wouldn't it?
Now, I'm going to put a warning. As clever as the people over at OpenAI are at developing these tools, we've also got tools now to check. So when you try and enter the ASCCA Media Awards for literacy and poems, we will run OpenGPT checkers on you. So the grammar police will be here. But the reality is, okay, that this poem here, if we publish this in a newsletter, I don't think anyone would disagree with me that this is a really good piece of content that's been generated. I mean, it did exactly what I asked it to. It started off showing that they were sad that they hadn't met their grandchild. It talks about how their hearts ached, and then they got to meet their grandchild and now how their lives are full. And the rhyming is there. Hand, grand, BC, deep sleep, grandkids have been days, ways, touch, clutch. And this was 7 to 8 seconds. That's all.
So how
done in real time.
Sorry, can I ask, how would you know that the bot had written that if we put one into the
I've got tools that can check for it. So this tool's become a huge concern at schools. In fact, New South Wales has already banned it.
I remember
WA has too, Brett. WA has now too.
Sorry, can I interrupt again? What's to stop you from copying it and putting it into a Word doc? And then, because how could you see what's in the back of it then if it's not the original? It
takes the whole document from Word and it puts it into algorithms that would match OpenAI's. In fact, the company themselves have generated a tool to do it, because they're not trying to encourage us to become silly and dumb and lazy. But what this does is, if you're trying to think of an idea, okay, so the poem is a great poem and that's fun and it's entertaining, but you'll see some examples I'm going to give you of what this tool can be used for. It will generate content as a thought starter, and then it's up to you as an individual to make it. So I'm actually going to stop at this point, because music is one of the things, and I'll talk about music a bit later on. Now, I only found out in playing with this that Nick Cave from the band Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds is actually Aussie. I didn't know that. And I love Nick Cave. He jumped online and went absolutely crazy about the fact that he has to suffer loss, heartache, death, trials, tribulations, that to come up with the lyrics that he comes up with. And that this is nowhere close, because you can actually say, write a song in the voice and tone of Nick Cave, and it does. Or Bob Marley, or Frank Sinatra, whatever you want, and it will write in their tones and the way they would write. So it's there to give you ideas. It's not there to be abused. Now, on that note, it passed the MBA exam of Wharton Business School, which is one of the preeminent MBA schools. It's aligned with Penn State. So it passed. It's passed law degrees. It's passed mathematics degrees. The intelligence is there, but it is still missing the neural engine, the actual emotive engine, or the EQ that humans possess. Will it get there? Maybe. But for now, it's just a great tool. I will confess, and if anyone repeats it, I'll be most upset, but it was my mother's 70th birthday the day before yesterday. I used ChatGPT to write the speech for me, because I was looking for specific things that I didn't know happened that I could then take and put into my speech. So one of them was, she's born in the same year as Edmund Hillary conquered Everest. So I took that fact and I said, you might not have conquered any mountains, but you've conquered all of our hearts. So that gives you an example of how you can use this as a base and then put in your personal touch. But I could have gone to Google and gone, what happened in 1953? And it would have come back with a gazillion things. But because ChatGPT wrote it in the way I asked it to, it gave me facts that were actually important to me, or in my life, and things that I'd added in with names and people of my family and so on. Right, let's have a look. Now here's one. So we've got Susan here from the Mac Society. I'm not sure who else is here with Apple, but if you don't know what a cron job is something that you write on a Mac that makes it do something. So it's like an if this then that. You can write a cron job that says turn my Mac off at 8 o'clock in the morning. It's done in the activity manager and Terminator, and the terminal, sorry, which in PC is like the command when you go into the, I don't even know what it's called. Help me out, PC users. The little square where you go C:/ and it flashes.
I just call it the command.
What's a terminal? I don't know. Anyway, but a cron job is an automatic prompt. There we go, command prompt. So I wrote, I need a cron job to turn my MacBook on at 8 on weekdays. And there's the response. Unfortunately, you cannot create a cron job to turn on a MacBook. It requires a manual intervention to power the device. However, you can set a schedule using a third-party app. So it's told me what I can.
No, it's built in. It's built in.
Oh, no, Susan, I know that. I was just using this but there it is. The third-party app is there, you know.
No, it's built in.
You can write software. That's why I asked it, and I'll get to that just now. Right. So how fast is ChatGPT? Now, I'm going to have to stop my presentation for a second, or I can try and click on it and see if it still shares. Can you tell me if you're seeing the presentation? Because I'm now off my...
Yeah, still the presentation, right?
Still the presentation, right. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to stop sharing for a second. And now I'm going to share my tab.
You're muted, Brett. Oh. Willie, shush.
It won't let me unmute and share. Let me just
do you want me to try? I've got a window open, Brett. You can just stand by.
I should be able to do it.
just a point while Brett's finding out if he can connect. I have found that in Victoria, in the afternoon or evening or night, it's really, really difficult to get onto ChatGPT. They just seem to be so busy. But
Well,
those of you who are up early in the morning will have greater success. Thanks. Sorry, Brett.
So they are about to launch a pro version now as well, where you could pay to get past that. I think it's about $20 a month, and it's in the States. As I said, they have to start finding a way to make money. So I see that Natika has shared her screen. So what I want to do to just show you, we haven't actually pre-done anything here. Let's come up with a topic, okay? So give me a couple of ideas of what you would want, you know, whether it's to get an email written or a story, and give me a topic or theme. Let someone choose one for me.
Barry, have you got one handy?
Not off the top of my head.
Come on then.
Anything, Barry? Do you want to know about?
How about fire safety? How to be safe in a fire or floods?
Fantastic. Right. So let's write the following, please, Natika. I need a document that will outline the procedures of how to evacuate the building in the incidence of a fire. Full stop. It will need to be in a point-by-point form and ensure that it caters for people with disabilities and or limited mobility. Now that seems like quite a good one, right? That would be something that someone would ask us to do. Watch that speed on your screen now.
Hands up here, see? Not me.
Is everyone seeing this?
Yes.
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 Okay.
Yes.
Now that is
You could
grammatically
contract
correct.
yourself out to DFES because
Well, they've been too busy
Living-
looking for radioactive canisters that are the size
True.
of, no.
Oh,
Call
Right,
911.
now you see now point seven says call 911. In Australia, it's obviously 000. So this is what I was saying earlier, is that you'd still need to go through it and make sure that you've localized it.
Could
But if
we
someone
do
asked me to
that?
put something together, what's on that screen there would give me enough basic information that I would be able to put together a document. Agreed?
Yeah.
Yep.
And look at that speed.
Could we do
Right,
it
can I
with
take
putting
back the
Austra-
screen
in
control?
Australia in there? Could we redo that, Brett, with putting in
You
Australia
can.
in there?
If you go back up to the top and you edit it,
Oh, yeah.
so there's an edit button, yep, and you go outline procedures, evacuate building, event of fire in Australia or in Western Australia, it might actually change the 911. It'll be interesting to see. Now, it does not always get it right, okay? But this will, I'm actually only interested in point 7, just to see if it's the same order and if it talks about 911.
Well, that's the same with the voice to text. If you're putting a message or an email and using voice to text there, you've always got to make sure you edit it before you send it.
Yeah.
So this
Yes.
would be perfect. I've just gone out and checked the libraries that we're doing some workshops in, and we're putting together a risk analysis. So I had to put where the fire exits were, where this was. So if I gave it that information, it would put out that full report.
Yeah, but you'd really need to get in there and just give it the once over, Julia.
customise.
Yeah.
You see,
Oh,
it
yes,
says
I
in
know.
point 5, report the fire. Once you've safely evacuated, report to the authorities. It doesn't talk about 911. So it's realized we don't have 911. It may not know we use 000, but also there's going to be a regenerate button that appears after this, where it says stop generating. That button becomes a regenerate. And if you hit that, it will rewrite this again. And that time it might include 000. The point is, that document there would be sufficient to pass any fire safety requirement, I would bet, if you had to put that down in your policies and procedures manual of building safety. So that was an example of live speed. So I'm going to go back into sharing my screen and carry on. I just want you to see the speed. Like, that was the importance of that whole exercise.
Can I just interrupt there?
Sure.
Though on that slide that you've got there, anybody at home that wants to remember that can do so by creating, well, I call it a screenshot, but whatever it is that your machine does, to copy what you see on the screen and then save it so that afterwards you can try this yourself. So anything you see on screen, you can copy so that you can look again later. Thanks, Brett. Sorry.
No worries. You can actually just remember openai.com, because when you go to their homepage and you go down to the bottom left, it says featured. ChatGPT is there, and right below it is actually DALL-E 2 as well, which is that one that does the images. So you can play with both of them. But there we go. Right. So.
And Natika's just put a link in the chat as well.
Perfect. Yeah, I think that link there is once you've already got an account. I think you have to start at openai.com, but either way, it will redirect you. Okay, so here's some of the cool things you can do with ChatGPT, and there are tons of things that I haven't covered. I'm using cool because I want you to have fun with the tool. So you can debug code. So if you're writing code, you can put your code into ChatGPT and ask it to debug. Now, not only will it do that, it will even look for vulnerabilities as well, because it takes security protocol and will actually compare security protocols against the code that you've written. Now, the obvious one that maybe should have been first is if you're going to debug code, it means you've written code, but don't worry. If you can't write code, now you can. You can just go in there and say, please write me an app that will do A, B, C, and X, Y, Z, and I want it written in Python, and it will write it. It will do the whole thing for you. One of the tests that they did was to play tic-tac-toe. It wrote the whole code to build a tic-tac-toe game. You could then copy and paste it, run a Python terminal in it, and play inside ChatGPT. So that was two really cool things when it comes to code. Now, the explain things. This was the thing that I was talking about earlier. Instead of just Googling something and getting 100 explanations, you can ask it to explain. So if you say to it, please explain to me what quantum computing is, okay, it will write a very detailed analysis for you and explanation on quantum computing. That still might be too advanced for a lot of us. You can then go and say, explain it to me like I'm 5 years old, and it will take the whole thing and dumb it right down into 5-year-old speak, or 8-year-old or 10-year-old, and it changes accordingly. I tried all the different ones. The words get bigger and the vocabulary gets better if it goes from 5 to 10 or 15 years old. But it doesn't stop there. You can have fun with it. You can ask it to explain quantum computing to you in like a pirate captain would explain it to his crew. And it says, yeah, mateys, before you go out on the Jolly Roger and did it, it actually brings a whole pirate theme into something serious like quantum computing. So
what would happen if you said Aussie slang?
Interesting. We can try it. There's one for you to try.
You'll be right, mate.
You'll be right, mate. Just remember, make sure you have 3-phase power. Otherwise, it's not going to work. Get help and suggestions for the theme of a party. Now, again, the difference between ChatGPT and Google. You could go into Google and say, give me ideas for a 10-year-old party, okay? This will not only make suggestions, but it will actually give you the step-by-steps of how to do it. So if you decide, it will give you a list of 10 suggestions. You say, oh, the unicorn idea is a lovely idea. You then take that and go, please give me the step-by-steps of what I should include in a unicorn-themed party, and it will do it for you. So in 3 minutes, you've planned a party. It's done. Find answers to homework or assignments. Now, this is also why the schools have banned it. But if you get a question, you know, should we change the picture of the $5 bill to the First Nation instead of King Charles as your homework or assignment, you could put that in and it will come back with all kinds of things that it's found. Actually, it couldn't because King Charles didn't exist before 2021. So it wouldn't go past 2021. That's a terrible example. But if you've got an example, what would Winston Churchill have done differently that would have cost him the war, let's say? That could be an assignment or a question that you're given. It'll answer it for you. I wrote an ebook the other day. I said that I wanted 5,000 words, and I gave it the theme. I gave it topics that I needed it copied in, and it came back to me, and right at the end it says, apologies, this is closer to 5,100 words. I hope that's okay. That was the response. But it took about 33 seconds to write this book.
Wow.
Write music and songs. And I spoke about Nick Cave earlier. Not only will it write songs, but it will even add the chords. If you want to say they write a song that's a love ballad, and I want the guitar chords added in per line, it will put there C and H, F and G, etc., line by line with the lyrics that it's created. So you can pick up a guitar and you can play the chords and sing accordingly, and it shows you where the chords fit. So Google Translate would probably be better than ChatGPT, but the only reason I thought it was cool when I was playing with this is that if you asked it for a sentence, it would then, let's say you wanted a sentence of, where do I catch a bus in Spanish, right? It would give you the translation. It then carries on to give you each word in the sentence and what that word is and how it means and how you would use it. And in languages like Spanish, where they have feminine and male, someone's asked a question. I can see a hand's popped up.
That would be me.
Sure. What's the question?
Copyright. Is there any copyright issues? Because
no,
say the poem or whatever, you could print that off, or the song, and sell it. They won't come back at you.
So
right?
Yes and no. No, because it's OpenAI and it's part of the open source GitHub agreement, there is no copyright owned or implied or transferred. The key is the word transferred. You don't own it either. So if you were to make a song and you were to sing it, you would probably or should actually say song was written by ChatGPT. And that would cover you across whatever potential, because it's going to be taking words and themes and ideas from all over the place. And there might be one line in there that someone's used somewhere before. But if you're putting it as you didn't, I can't write that poem that I just showed you and said written by Brett Levy, because I didn't write it. That would be plagiarism. As long as I say this poem was generated by a brief from me and using ChatGPT, that would be fine. But secondly, if you changed words, I can't remember what the exact requirement is, but I know on a design you have to make 3 material changes and then it gets past the copyright. So you could probably add in a line, remove a line, move one paragraph up and change another, just make some form of changes. And to that point, you probably could almost claim ownership, but you would need to put a disclaimer on there. And equally, there's already tools checking for the stuff. So if you try to pass off a song as yours as an up and coming artist, it's just going to take one of the libraries to run a ChatGPT tool on it to call you out. And again, this is not about cheating the system. This is just about ideation and giving you some really cool, fun things to do with tech, using tech for good. There's a saying that guns don't kill people, people kill people. The gun can't kill a person. A bullet can't kill a person unless someone fires it. It lying on the table physically cannot kill a person. This tool is no different. It can't do anything that's evil or wrong unless you choose to do so with it. And that's actually one of the disclaimers. It says sometimes it will write stuff that might be left or right-wing orientated because that's what it's found. So it might offend people. It might even be hate speech in some regards. Because remember, all it's doing is taking what you're asking it and then generating what it finds against it. So if you ask for something that's incredibly right-wing centric, its response is probably going to come back in a right-wing theme. And if you publish that, you could offend. So again, you using the tool to create harm, it's not the tool that's creating the harm. And that's just, I think, the message. And then the last 2 cool things are grading essays. So as a teacher, you can take an essay from a child, put it in there, and it will grade it based on, you'd say to them, you say to the system, this is an essay that was written by a year 10 student. The question was about this, and I asked them to give me 500 words, no less than 3 sentences, blah, 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 whatever the brief was that you gave to the student, You put that into ChatGPT with the essay, and it will grade it based on what it's learned from grading technology. And then solving maths questions. So I don't know if there's any serious mathematicians here, but if there's any maths formula that are keeping you up at night and have done so for 40 years, put it into ChatGPT and it will solve it for you in 8 or 9 seconds. So
How about the lotto numbers?
I tried that. So its answer was quite clever. It doesn't know anything past 2021. I can actually tell you a lovely, a little bit of a segue from the sense of humor. I typed into ChatGPT 2 + 5 = 8, and it came back correcting me, telling me that 2 + 5 = 7. So I replied and said, no, my wife said that 2 + 5 = 8, and my wife is always right. And it replied back to me saying, well, if your wife said that it's right, then we probably have to go with that, because I also don't know the answers past 2021. So if my wife is always right, 2 + 5 = 8. And ChatGPT will agree with it. So I was lucky there.
Can I just, I don't know if we have time. I just put in the risk analysis for the Bega Valley Shire. You want to hear what it come back with?
Sure.
Okay. Is that okay? Got time for this for quickly?
Yes.
Okay. Write a risk analysis for Bega Valley Shire, located at blah, 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 has a capacity of toilets are, so I told it where the toilets are, defib, etc. Told them what we're doing for tea and coffee and that. Anyway, come back. Risk analysis for Bega Valley Shire Library. Capacity. With a maximum capacity of 16 people, the library may face overcrowding and a potential for fire hazards. Toilet facilities. It was all bullet pointed, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Toilet facilities. Toilets located in the hall by the entrance may become overcrowded and lead to hygiene issues. First aid. The first aid room located behind the front desk may not be easily accessible in case of emergency. Defibrillator. Defibrillator being located in the hall by the entrance may not be easily accessible in case of medical emergency. Hot beverages. Provision of hot beverages and the use of kettles may pose a risk of burns or scalds. Additionally, the self-service table may not be adequately cleaned, sanitized, leading to hygiene issues. Paper cups. Use of paper cups may lead to litter and environmental hazards if not disposed properly. To mitigate these risks, the library may consider implementing the following measures. Regularly monitor, and it just went through to the monitoring of it. So that's pretty cool.
There we go. Now, if you took that and customized it,
yes,
you know, and played with it a little bit, then you probably have what you need from a risk. I used it the other day. I'm busy building a prospectus for a client, and you have to have a disclaimer in a prospectus when it comes to investment. I did exactly the same thing. I said I need a disclaimer for an information memorandum for company X, and it generated for me, and I copied and pasted. Now, one of the board of directors is an attorney, and he said to me, "Where did you get the disclaimer from?" So I said, "Well, I'm not trying to take work away from you." He goes, "No, I wasn't." You know, he would do it pro bono anyway. I said, "But I used this tool." He says, "It's spot on. It's perfect." You know, it's coming from an attorney. Now, he would have billed me $250 for that, I'm sure, or anyone for that matter. 7 seconds later, I had my disclaimer. So, oh, this is what I wanted to show you. So I'm going to have to stop presenting because I've queued it up as a, it's a video. I need to just give you some context behind it as well. So Ryan Reynolds is the actor. I'm sure you've seen him on TV before and so on. I know my mic might mute if I do this. I'm going to just finish the story. He asked ChatGPT to write an advert for him. He's going to tell you what he asked him for. The only thing I wanted to just tell you, because you may not know this, there's a mobile network in America called Mint that he owns. It's a virtual network. So, you know, they do a deal like we've got ASIM with Optus and Vodafone piggybacks off Telstra and so on. Mint is the same thing. They piggyback off AT&T and they run and they do all cool stuff, right? So let me see if I can get this video to play because this is incredible.
Hey, it's Ryan Reynolds, owner of Mint Mobile. You know, we're always looking for ways to save you money. So this year, we're kicking things off with an ad that I created using ChatGPT, the AI technology. This is what I asked it to write. I said, write a commercial for Mint Mobile in the voice of Ryan Reynolds. Use a joke, a curse word, and let people know that Mint's holiday promo is still going, even after the big wireless companies have ended theirs. This is what it wrote. Hey, it's Ryan Reynolds here. First of all, Let me just say Mint Mobile is the shit. But here's the thing. All the big wireless companies out there are ending their holiday promos, but not Mint Mobile. We're keeping the party going because we're just that damn good. Give Mint Mobile a try. And hey, as an added bonus, if you sign up now, you'll get to hear my voice every time you call customer service. Just kidding, that's not really a thing. And stay classy, everyone. That is mildly terrifying, but compelling.
Sure if you heard that. I see there was transcription. Did you hear it?
Yes.
Yes, we did. I'm not going to be
Right.
getting work done now after this.
So there we go, right? And when I saw that, I took the same thing when I wanted to write my advert. I did exactly the same thing. So I've got no more slides to share. That's it. But basically, I did this. I said I want to write an ad for a car. It needs to have a joke. It needs to have sarcasm, and so on. You know, and it works. So this is the exciting world of ChatGPT.
Did you sell the car?
I actually tagged them in one of my LinkedIn posts and said, if you'd like to buy this advert, I'd be open to discussion. So let's see if they come back to me. So hopefully you got to learn about a really cool tool. I love it. And you can now integrate it into WhatsApp. Every time I write an email now, I write it in ChatGPT and I just copy and paste and edit. It's like having a little assistant that can do stuff for me, you know, and all I have to do is just breadify it before I send it out. So yeah, that's the amazing world of ChatGPT.
I'm loving it.
Yes.
Yeah,
Julie, you're going to
good.
be so
Absolutely.
productive now.
Oh, I've got to get ready for this workshop tomorrow.
Yeah, I've built
Wow.
2 websites with it in the last week.
Oh, I'm going to go back. I built websites the last month.
And
I
some
thought
of
to-
ASCCA's
let's go back to them.
promos have
Yeah.
been done in it as well. Yeah.
Oh,
What I want to know, Brett, is will it write a grant application? I've got
good
3.
one.
I don't know, but Jen, there's no reason
I'm going to
why
put it to the
shouldn't.
test.
You know, if
I'm
you
gonna
have to
try that
take what
too.
you need
And
to
let
do,
us know next time how it went. The grant application.
Yeah. By
Yeah,
the
I'm gonna try
way,
that.
the quantum physics in Aussie slang for tech savvy seniors is in the chat for everyone to see. So you should all be a full bottle on quantum physics by the end of this this Zoom.
Oh,
it's like
God.
trying to catch the little bugger. There we go. That's the one line that I can see. Yeah, there we go. So this is
Brett,
it's not a tool to be abused. It's not there to
Right.
try and get rid of wordsmiths and authors and all that. That's not what it's about. But can you imagine some of the really good authors or poets or musicians out there that's sitting with a bit of writer's block? All they have to do is put an idea in and it will generate something for them. And then hopefully from there, they just get their kickstart and they can start cutting and pasting. Because I mean, generally, if you write an album, it's 12, 15 songs. It has a theme that runs all the way through it. And it starts off with the main song, you know, whatever that title of the album is that normally is a title song as well. They could now fast forward months of mental block. Author, exactly the same. You know, a lot of the authors that write these books with the same heroes, you know, they've always got, I like Dennis Lehane. He's one of my favorite authors. He always writes from a detective's point of view. He's got these 2 detectives that, you know, and every now and then he does solos and different projects. If he was sitting in a mental block, he'd be able to just put an idea saying, I need characters X and Z to do so and so, and they should be in this country. Just give me a premise, and it will give him a premise. And then from there, he puts his words and his thinking and his style into it. But it could really fast forward the process for him, you know. And I'm sure they'll use it. There's no reason not to. They're not going to write the entire book.
Sorry, you could compare this to Canva. Canva is where you go in and create. I use the designs to get the idea, and then I build it to personalize it for me. So it's kind of like the same, but in a word version as a picture version.
Correct. There's no reason
Two
why.
together.
Yeah, no reason. Yeah. And that's the message for you today: is go and have fun with it. Be joking. You know, let's talk about quantum computing in Aussie slang, for example. But next time you actually have to do something, sit down and use the tool. It's going to just save you some time. I won't lie, I've done certain things where I haven't edited at all. I've just copied and pasted and sent it on, you know.
I'm waiting for my person to do the risk analysis for tomorrow's workshop. I've just done it now. I'm not going to bother with it.
Brett, could I have a
Yeah.
copy of your presentation? Could you email a
That
copy?
is recorded.
I
We'll
can
make sure you get one, John.
I can add it into, can I upload into the chat? I don't think
Yes,
so.
you should be able to. put a
Okay.
file in there.
Right.
Let me just,
I'm just going to share some of the DALL-E creations that I did before we started today. It's a little bit disconcerting though. I asked for a photo of seniors using technology. Don't look too closely at their facial features. It's a bit weird.
is that DALL-E?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so this is a realistic photo of seniors using technology. It's a little bit off the mark for me. But this was one I put in, create a realistic photo of a Zoom call with a number of older people attending. They're all having fun in the screenshot. And again, don't look too closely at the faces. So it's obviously
it'll produce photos as well as just text.
Yeah. Oh, this is DALL-E. This is a different part.
Oh,
Made by the same company.
Yeah.
It uses the same engine.
Maybe Brett can do a session on that next. So, but yeah.
Well, Brett can't even draw a stick, man. So I'm not sure how well Brett will be doing.
Well,
maybe DALL-E can do it for. In fact,
I confess, Yvonne and I had a session for our tech talk in the library here last Friday, where we wrote a couple of kids' books, and the theme was a crocodile and an emu making friends. And we had this bright idea that we were going to write the story with ChatGPT, and then we were going to illustrate it with DALL-E. But DALL-E apparently doesn't really know what a crocodile or an emu is. They're a bit weird.
On my DALL-E versions of it, as in Salvador Dali.
Yeah.
So if you've got, like, I've got a few Canva images on my website, but there's sometimes I want something different, but I want them in the same style. So I could take the ones that I've already got and say, can you give me old people that look similar to this one?
Yeah, you can upload in the DALL-E bot. So yeah.
So what's the website for the DALL-E one, please?
So that's labs.openai.com. I'll pop that in.
Labs.openai.com. AI.com. Okay, thanks for that. And Tisha.
It's all in the open. Excuse me. It's all in the OpenAI.com website down the bottom left.
Yeah.
Brett, that's absolutely awesome. Amazing insight into AI for whatever you're trying to do, not just teaching technology, but certainly there's something here that many of us didn't know before you spoke today, and I learned a new word, Brettify.
There we go.
Yeah. So if you need to Brettify anything that you're doing, you will then think of the ASCCA forum where you heard it first.
There we go.
Absolutely.
I did put the PDF document into chat, so I think you have to download it before you ring off. But there it is there, and always happy to help and answer questions. You can come through us on all the normal channels. I think though that, you know, just have fun with it. Just put some course for all the people that manage or involved in the clubs, you know, put together a course, you know, ask it to write you a step-by-step course on how to do X, Y, or Z, and go through the course, or how to build games, or anything you want. It has no limits.
Program learning.
Program learning, it will teach you, choose your program, choose your language.
I failed at Teachers College on writing a program learning instruction. Just could not do it step by step, but this is amazing because
So you'll do it next year? Yeah, fantastic. So I'd just like to move on a little bit. Before we do, I want to show you what ASCCA what Awesome is putting in their magazine next month to get people motivated to enter the ASCCA competitions. Take note, Newcastle. Newcastle were the winners last time for the most entries from a club. Note, we have a new one called Poetry that opens, the entries open the 1st to the 14th of July, and I'm very strict about the dates. Obviously, it's beyond midnight because it is for WA as well, and we've got to accommodate those people in the West. But if you don't fit that entry point, I will just say, I'm sorry, it's too early or too late. That's followed by creative writing, which will be in August, and digital photography in September. And we have to thank Barry Keane for us getting all this together so early in the year for people to see, because he sent me an email saying, get your bottom into gear, lady, and let's have all the guidelines and entries ready. So they're now, thank you, Natika, on our website, and you can go there and check out whatever you want and circulate those amongst your club members and give them some incentive to do something. The whole purpose of doing these competitions at this level is to give your tutors something to teach people. If they've never taught poetry before, get together a poetry group, use AI, and get them all motivated to do their own poetry and put it in for the competitions. Don't listen too hard there, Barry Keane.
I've got the recording here.
Yes, of course. Yes, of course. And now to talk about Be Connected, we've got Natika, I believe. Natika, over to you.
I'm going to say goodbye to everyone because
Yes.
I do need to go.
Thank you so much,
a
Brett.
bit longer than I was supposed to. I apologize.
No,
I think it's
good.
fine,
Awesome.
Brett.
Absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, good
Thank
stuff.
you.
Weekend,
Love
and
it.
remember
Thank
to
you.
Brettify everything, or maybe don't. Susan
Brettify
Fire,
everything.
Julie Fire, Ian Fire, etc.
Yeah.
But the fire part's the important part. And have fun.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you
Bye,
so
Brett.
much.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
So if anyone needs to leave, because we're not supposed to go on beyond an hour, but obviously we are going to run over time. If anybody needs to leave, please do so. You don't have to say goodbye or anything, just leave. So back to Natika. Thank you.
Right. Thanks, Susan. Yeah, that was amazing, wasn't it? And
Yes.
my brain is ticking over with ways that you can use this to write your next Be Connected grant, to be honest. They've got their round finishing today, their first one for 2023 for building digital skills, but the next one opens on Monday. So that gives you the weekend to practice with your ChatGPT and throw some ideas around. It would be great, like Brett said, it's great to give you some ideas. So give me some ideas on how to run classes for seniors that we can offer through the Be Connected program and see what it spits out, and then make your grant application fit within that. So I'm very, very excited about the possibilities that ChatGPT is opening up for our clubs and stuff like that. So on saying that, who in the room, just a quick show of hands, is already a network partner for Be Connected? Yeah, there's a few of us there. Who has seen the new learner, the learner tool, learner management tool, or the, yep, okay. Have you started using that, Julie?
Yeah, the one, are you talking about the one where they've got to go in and tell how much, what skills they've got? Yeah, I make everyone do it every time we go in. That's one of the first things. Yeah.
So that's now a requirement.
Yeah, Sandra's using those.
Great. And how are you finding them, Barry?
We haven't been absolutely enforcing it, but I understand that, how many did we have? We had our first meeting back this term was on the 30th, and I think we had 20, well, hang on, 18, we had about six, no, there was 23 learners.
That's good.
And about 14 tutors, I think. No, not
Fantastic.
that.
That's
But
even better.
But I think pretty sure that Sandra did that particular meeting, and she was running around with the QR code and getting people to do the the survey that's not a survey. So that was done on the Monday, but I did notice that on the Tuesday and the Wednesday meetings in the libraries, I didn't follow that through. So I'm going to have to jump on the bandwagon with the tutors that run those sessions and get them to make sure they do it. I can't recall, I know Sandra would know, but I can't recall when the second one, the follow-up one, is supposed to be done.
Yeah, these are now a requirement for your grant outcomes. So
we've stressed that. And we've played the video that came out from Jess Wilson about the requirements that the government's imposed on them, which we're obliged to follow as well. So we're emphasising the fact that, you know, we've got a grant there from Be Connected, and these are the conditions we have to meet. There are needs occasionally when people need specific stuff which is beyond what is available on Be Connected.
Yeah.
We devote an hour and a half on 3 days a week with Be Connected subjects, and then in the afternoon on a Monday, we encourage people who need specific help to join our club, pay our membership fee and pay our $5 for an hour and a half, and they can have individual assistance on whatever their topic is.
Yes.
We're a bit restricted on that one. We've had to limit it to 8 because we were getting so much interest in that I only had four tutors that stayed back in the afternoon, and we had 8 people. So it was a 2-on-1 rather than a 1-on-1. Yeah. But the interest is there.
Yeah, that's good. And that you've just picked a great point there, Barry, is that this is going to be a great opportunity for our clubs who we've come out the other side of COVID. It's you know, the threats of lockdowns, etc. Now is a time as clubs we're ready to start encouraging people to come back to face-to-face delivery in your regional areas or your local areas. And so I'm available for anyone if they want to talk about Be Connected and how it might work. We're currently putting together with our this year's partner, AMAGA, the Australian Museums and Galleries Association, some more places in WA to do face-to-face delivery. We're just waiting for one of their team members to come back on deck, and we'll sort of get started with that. So if you're in WA, keep an eye on our events calendar, and you're most welcome to come along and spend the day with me wherever I might pop up in WA. We could be in the lovely frosty Albany, we could be in lovely sunny Perth, or we could be in Port Hedland, and all of these other places that we'll be looking at delivering this year before this project runs out. So
I'll come if I can get there.
Yeah, well, flying is best, I think, at the moment, because it's a very long way around on the road from Perth to Kununurra at the minute. Longer than normal anyway, so yeah. But that's all. I just wanted to make sure that everyone's aware, building digital skills on a monthly grant round. If you want a hand, now that you've got ChatGPT, I think I'm probably superfluous for you all. But anyway, but if you wanted to bounce some ideas, I'm here. So yeah, please make the most of this resource that ASCCA has while we've got this project running. Excellent. That's me. I'm going to shut up now because Jen's got something exciting that she wants to talk about. Very good. All right.
Good. I know that the whole point of having this forum is so that you can network together and sort out problems together. And maybe we've done that a little bit today, and maybe we haven't. But I know that we have a presenter right now who is really keen to give you some ASCCA news. So for that, you'll have to wait for your good networking till next month, because Jennifer Wilcox needs to give you some news. Jenny.
Thank you so much, Susan. Speaking of superfluous, I have to say, after Brett's presentation and the potential that ChatGPT provides to us all, perhaps some of what I had planned to outline and put to you today and other clubs and their members might very well fall into that category of superfluous. But I'll battle on anyway, because ChatGPT isn't just for everyone, and it takes some learning. So obviously ASCCA has also suffered over the last almost 3 years because of the COVID, and we've had some absolutely massive internal changes and adaptations that we've had to embrace and deal with, address, face. And I have to say, because the whole of ASCCA is now totally digital, Australia-wide, it's also another sort of aspect to us being somewhat disconnected. There's no Pitt Street, Sydney premises anymore. There's no learning centre. There's actually no directors. Actually, beg your pardon, there is a new director now who lives in New South Wales. All the directors are in other states. So we are truly almost totally Australian. So that brought with it problems and difficulties to overcome as well. But it's no good wallowing around for 3 years, woe is us. We've turned the corner, we've regrouped, we've readdressed everything that has gone before, and now ASCCA is totally digital, as I said. And one of the things that we had for change was to make everything accessible. And it was originally our plan to go through the old tutorials archives and bring them up to accessibility standard. Well, that's like eating an elephant one bite at a time, and it just doesn't happen. So what we've decided, there's been quite a few inquiries for past tutorials. Some of the information would be out of date, but some is useful for others. So we'll create a page in our website and it will have archives. So it'll be as is, as they were previously. And going forward, any information, tutorials and resources, they will be totally accessible from now on going forward. So then we have the matter of reducing numbers of clubs who are members of ASCCA. And that's been really quite traumatic, in that a lot of the clubs that have had a need to close have been around for a long time, and they're like old friends. And one has to question what happens to those people. And I can tell you that, having stepped into Nan's, no, I just stepped into them, I don't fit them at all, her shoes. You know, like, I couldn't sit by and watch ASCCA continue to diminish without doing something practical. So I spent many sleepless nights dreaming up and concocting something. And so I am pleased, actually, I'm really quite chuffed about it, in that it has been agreed that from now on ASCCA will deliver what is called an e-club. And an e-club is based on, yes, technology, but being everything to everyone. Because I often used to question whether we pitched directly to clubs and did trainer-trainer models, or we gave lessons to members. And then we, to some degree, I sort of felt that that might have usurped the role of clubs themselves. But it comes down to horses for courses, and you've got to strut what you've got. So we've got some talent within ASCCA, and I thought if we harnessed it and supplemented the clubs and supported the members who need support, that'll be the E part of the E-club. So it'll be totally digital. With the closure of clubs, we've had an inundation of contacts, Susan particularly has, of members who used to belong to a club. Their club has closed for whatever reason, but they're still interested in technology. Where do they go? They're not really able to get on 4 buses to go travelling to a club, you know, just a fair way away. had a call from someone the other day in Carnarvon, if anyone knows where Carnarvon is, you know, just behind the banana plantation. Well, there's nothing there that can suit this one person who wanted to learn technology, and they've got all the gear. They just need someone to teach them. So this is where the E part comes in. There's a lot of orphans around who are the victims of really COVID is at the bottom of it, and secondary is the club's closure. And I feel that if we can harness them to join the E-Club, so I sort of figure that we still got a few nuts and bolts to work out. But if we have a tiered structure, so clubs can join, members can join, and individuals can join if they just want to come along, and we'll have tutorials on Zoom. With a bit of luck, some of the tutorials might spawn the establishment of special interest groups who could meet separately and have a tutor. I'm sort of thinking family history or genealogy, writing your memoirs, things like that. So there's what I'm aiming, or what we're aiming, is to pick up the threads of where clubs left off, or where some clubs don't have the knowledgeable tutors to deliver things over and above the basics. So we're not trying to teach this is a mouse, this is a computer, this is, you know, where the on button is. We figure that most people who have been members of clubs, they know that, and they're looking for something else. And so this is the special interest part that I think would be interesting, and they could then join and learn something based on the skills they've already got. It's doing something practical with those skills. And really what we could do is set it up as an individual club under the umbrella of ASCCA, similarly to how we initially established SWADE. And now SWADE has morphed into becoming ASCCA SWADE. So whether the E-Club does or it doesn't really matter, but it will be under the umbrella and run autonomously with ASCCA. So it would be advocating Be Connected, absolutely, to get those members who haven't learnt the basics yet to go off and do, you know, the self-help lessons that Be Connected supply. And then we could then pick up other things and fill the gaps. That's really what it is filling the gaps Australia-wide, because there's lots of areas that never even had a club, let alone one that closed. And so there's lots of people around who would like to join. So I've sort of initially based the idea on the need to fill the gap and gather the orphans, and also perhaps impart some things of that I know how to teach, and Nateka knows how to teach. And if we set this up as a bit of a club, we can get guest speakers from like Clubs Australia, Volunteering Australia. We're getting calls from different clubs asking, how do you recruit a volunteer? How do you sign them up? Do they have to have a national police clearance? And things like this. So we can get, you know, guest speakers from these organisations who can say it how it is, rather than just something that's sort of hearsay. So, and there's, you know, if you've got members in existing clubs who want to come along as well and learn stuff that isn't being taught or they're not learning at their club, they're more than welcome as well. So it's E-Club, everything to everyone. And just as a bit of an example, I just wanted to show you, I don't know whether you're going to be able to see this, probably not. There it is.
No, with your background, it's flashing in and out.
Okay, no worries. But the thing is, you know, there's lots of living in a small country town. Obviously, you have to learn to stand on your own 2 feet. And over the 30 years that I've lived here, I have been involved in lots of book productions for the Historical Society. Lots of people write their historical works, and I could teach anyone how to put together their own family history, or write a fictional story, have it published. Some people write their memoirs. Some organisations do recipe books. I know that everything's online, but there's nothing better than an old-fashioned recipe book. And we're pitching to seniors as well, and they like things like that. And there's no reason why we couldn't teach people PowerPoint and converting it to video or uploading it to YouTube. Just practical things that they can do with the skills that they've already learned with the text, even using ChatGPT. So that's just a little bit of a briefing of where we're going. And what I think we'll do after the board meeting next Friday is to formalise the structure of it, and it'll be available on ASCCA website to join up and have a look. And we'll take it from there, and we'll see how it goes and see if the goal to fill the gap right around Australia works. And if it doesn't, well, we gave it a shot. So that's pretty much it.
That's an interesting concept there, Jenny, and I appreciate that. Keep us posted. We'll follow it on the ASCCA site. I mean, as you say, there's been a lot of clubs that are around that have closed up, and I think we're the last man standing in and around Newcastle and Hunter, and we get people from the Central Coast and up in the Valley and so forth that do join us. Sometimes they come physically on a Monday, but other times they join us on our Thursday Zoom. We continue our Zoom sessions on a Thursday morning to cater for people on distance learning or for health reasons can't join us. So we're still doing that, and there is, I think, some of the aspects of what you're talking about there we could feature in there somewhere.
Yep, that's good, because there's different, like I used to be a bit of a dab hand in, I know it's a bit old hat, but not everybody's into the latest whiz-bang technology either. And there's an awful lot of people who still use Microsoft Publisher. And a lot of clubs do their newsletter in Microsoft Publisher. So I was a TAFE lecturer in Microsoft Publisher. So I could teach people how to enhance their newsletter or write their book, or, you know, do their pantry labels, you know, things practical that, you know, lots of people who come to computer clubs, they want to take something home that they've done themselves and feel proud of doing it, rather than once they've passed all the basics. We didn't want to be another online learning tool. We wanted to be something different and meaningful for our members and the clubs as well. So yeah, I think the opportunity and the potential is pretty well unlimited, really. And with the inclusion of ChatGPT and Canva, all the tools that are available, but still to do it. So I think it could be quite exciting, and it would give some of these members who feel somewhat abandoned, I think it would include them in sort of re-socialising with people who are thinking the same as well, not having to go and reinvent the wheel and join another club that wasn't their sort of passion. So anyway, that's it. Yes. Sorry you got left late. I have to tell you that Brett was a hard act to follow.
Yes, but I do think he needs to hand in his nerd card if he doesn't already have a power board with multiple plugs in it for his travel kit. I'm sorry.
He hasn't travelled enough. He hasn't travelled enough. That's all I can say.
I don't know about ships, but, you know, even hotel rooms, you've got to have.
I know.
Yeah, but the thing is, you've got all Australian plugs, and what you provide is one Italian.
You can get international.
It's one Italian plug. So you get the Italian to Australian converter, then you put your power board on.
Exactly.
I know.
But I carry the power board anyway.
About 6 converters.
Yeah, you have to have your power board, and as soon as they get a folding one, I will be there and get one.
Susan, you need to look at the Apple store. They've got them for like the Qi charging and stuff like that.
Yes, but not for your yeah, your other
I've
stuff
got one that's a little cube and it's got 1, 2, 3, 4,
on
5.
each side. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's got USB ports on it too. But
Mm.
now you need USB-C ports. So
You do, yes, and not many of them have got those yet.
Yeah.
No, but you know that quite often your lightning cable will work instead of the USB-C if you're stuck. Yeah. Oh, sorry to go off at a tangent and ignore the rest of you. We've got our hands up from Jeanette. Jeanette, I sent somebody to your club this week. You have a question, dear?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, I just wanted to make a comment. I didn't know that you'd been involved, Susan. I actually had 2 phone calls this week from people that had found our club on the ASCCA site. And then I had a look to see how the first person had found me. And I was really disappointed and surprised to see so little clubs on the map. You know, obviously a lot of clubs have changed. It's very disappointing to see that, but I think your idea of an e-club, that would be excellent. Yes.
How do I get my club
Thanks,
up on?
Jeanette. I had a lot of sleepless nights coming up with it.
Well, with Brentwood Computer Club, it's been on the map for a long time, and I've been involved with ASCCA since 1999. So my name has probably been there for all that time.
Yes, indeed it will have been, for sure, yeah. And you're still president, Jeanette?
I'm publicity officer this year.
Oh, we still got you down as president, not to worry.
Well,
not to worry.
I'm the person to contact anyway.
You're the person to speak to, yeah.
Not the president, no.
No, okay, good.
We're in a retirement village, so
yeah,
you know, it's not, but anyway, we're starting again next week with our groups.
Good. Best wishes for that.
Yeah, from people outside in the community as well as in the village. But we've found that most people in the village are not using computers so much. It's all mobile phones and tablets.
Oh, yes.
And
we're finding the same.
Yeah, that's what we're doing mostly now.
Yeah.
And photos, how to back up photos, save copies of photos, print photos. That's a big item in our survey as well.
Yes. Yes. Well, you're doing a great service. Julie wants to ask a question or say something. Julie?
Yes, sorry. Yeah, I've got the same actually, what you're saying about iPads and tablets in my beginner classes I'm running. And I've asked them, what's the question? What's the thing you need help with? And it's this photos seems to be the main thing. But look, I was just asking about the ASCCA. I haven't paid a membership because I started off last year. We're only just beginners. But I'm not on the map there. How do I get to be on the map on your ASCCA site? How does that work? Do I have to pay for a membership or what's the deal?
No, you should be on there. I'll go and check the database when I leave here and see why not. I'm pretty sure I did see your name in the list, but
I just looked at the map and there's nothing down on the map.
You would need to be a corporate member, Julie. Yeah.
I'm not sure how I'm go about that.
Stay tuned.
Yeah, okay. Cool.
You filled out an application form?
I don't remember. I joined last year when it was just so I was on the verge. I hadn't actually had it started up, and they put me in as an associate member or something. And then I don't know, some bit grey area of what I was supposed to do or how.
Yes, we set up a special membership for you for a starting out. That wasn't actually a club.
Yeah,
but you've got the club. You could probably join as a club.
All right. Okay. Well,
and we rejigged our constitution, and there's 3 categories. So you should 2 categories, but you would fit in one of those now.
All right. So if you could just send me an invite or something like that for me, that'd be great.
If you just I'll flick you the link to the website where the membership form is. Just give me a moment to get to it. Talk amongst.
Thank you, Natika. Yeah,
thank you.
I don't think we've had a more exciting clubs.
Nor do I.
we've certainly start off the year with a bang, and I hope that continues. And if you know people from other clubs that you haven't seen here, please do tell them about this forum. We try to spread the word, but you know, people don't always read things, whereas the personal introduction is probably the way to go. So if you could do that for us, that would be really good. How are you going, Nitty?
I think possibly when we advertise for the next one, we could do a little sort of review of this one, of how exciting it was. Mind you, that Brett sets a bar, doesn't he? We now have to come up with another magician for next time.
We could
Well,
be
on that
doing
note-
something with accessibility in the near future,
Yes.
not necessarily next
Yes.
month, but certainly one of the other directors runs an accessibility company in WA, and well, it services the whole of Australia, and there have been some new innovations in his line of business as well. So he did say that he couldn't actually come to one of the forums. It clashes with one of his other meetings, but he would ask one of his staff members to come along instead. So we've yet to tee up the fine details about what will happen there, but you will be learning a bit more about accessibility and the new things that came out in the computer show that just happened a month ago in San Francisco. It was somewhere in Nevada.
Yes,
but anyway.
where Alex was there, November, October, November.
January.
Alex was there. Was it another one? The
CES.
San Francisco one Alex went to.
This was CES, and I think it was in Vegas in January, but you know, correct me if I'm wrong, I wasn't there. Oh, a rat's just appeared on my computer screen. Right, so unless anybody else has got a burning question, something that won't wait for another month.
I just wanted to mention who we do have speaking next month.
Yeah.
I joined a couple of groups over the Christmas break on Facebook, and one of them is an iPhone photography group, and I found this fellow who has a YouTube channel about getting great results out of your smartphone cameras, and including things like astrophotography and star trails, etc., etc. So he'll be coming along. His name's Shane Mostyn, and he'll be joining us. I think he lives in Victoria somewhere, and he'll be coming along and talking to us about how to get the best out of your phone cameras. And he doesn't just stick to iPhone, he uses Androids as well. So yeah, there's something for everyone. So I'm a little bit excited about that one myself.
Now, Tika, I've just had a look on the map for us, and our address is wrong. I'll have to send you an email and get that fixed.
Yeah, I'm just getting the link. Actually, here's the link straight to the membership form. It had actually expired, so apologies for that. There's a new link there that should take you to the membership form. Julie, if you would like to use that, that seems to be working again now. And just fill that out for us, that'd be great.
I can give you a little tip if you like. Just in case everyone's got too much photos. We live in Nundle where it gets below 0, like -10 or whatever. And I've run out of fire starters, and photos are really good fire starters. There you go. When you've got too many, when you need a fire starter.
Oh, so do you need to roll them up individually to
just
make
put them in.
5, 6, or
just put them in, motor match, and they go. They're really good.
Well, it
No
saves
paper required or nothing.
Saves your relatives looking for them afterwards, and it keeps you warm. Yes,
exactly.
I
did use it.
Very good tip. Thank you, Patricia.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, look, I think it's time we all went home and got on with our everyday lives, but I do thank you all for being here and for being such good sports in all that we've done today. And we'll see you next month.
Okay.
Absolutely. Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
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 Bye.